Oh, yeah. We'll go ahead and call the Public Works meeting scheduled for February 10th, 2026 at 5 p.m. to order. We really only have just one item on the agenda to discuss tonight, and that is on the winter storm cleanup that we're going through now. We thought we were going to have another one, but Lance is not ready to bring forward a resolution about some mailboxes and streets. So Lance is not ready, does not have the resolution prepared. And so I called Mr. Evans and told him, and he said, that's fine. We'll just put it on for the 28th or when we meet again, which is the end of February. So we'll go ahead and move. If there's no objection, we'll accept the agenda as it is. And do we have any citizens' comments tonight here in the audience? We don't. And so now we've got other agenda items, and that's for discussion of the winter storm and the cleanup. Are you ready to carry us down the yellow brick road on this, or?
Sure.
Okay, let's roll.
What you have in front of you is a summary of our response to this storm. Activities began, prior to the storm occurring. We had over 200 tons of salt in stock. Mid-storm, we ordered an additional 150 tons approximately. We had 5 trucks with salt boxes and plows. During the storm, continual plowing and salting of city roads. We had to deploy generators to some of the main street intersections during the power outage, and that alleviated PD from having to be out there directing traffic, which is not a great situation in snowy and icy conditions. We had 60 emergency service calls for trees blocking roads that had to be cleared in order to open the roads. Actually, more than 60. We had regular communications throughout the storm with Waste Pro regarding litter collection, and our crews focused on the trash routes each day in advance of that route, hoping to make it so they could resume services. By the beginning of the week following the storm, we had generally caught back up with trash pickup and we're on track. After the storm, of course, debris cleanup. As you have seen driving around town, there's a lot of debris, and it's widespread. Unlike the tornado, this is pretty much everywhere, right? So city crews moved from the plowing and salting to debris cleanup using the 5 city plow trucks. We had, prior to the storm, contracts in place with Looks Great Services and Debris Tech, and they do monitoring and removal in accordance with FEMA guidelines. So it all plays into getting our reimbursements. So they do what's called cradle to grave, and it's like from where they pick it up all the way to where it's chipped and disposed of. They track where that debris goes in order to get our FEMA reimbursements. And I believe it was declared over the weekend as a full FEMA event, right? So anyway, continuing on with that. So Monday the 26th, this is the Monday right after the storm, we initiated contact with the contractor to discuss potential operations for cleanup. By Tuesday, they had a representative here in Hendersonville, spent most of the day driving around with the representative, looking at the damage and assessing what needed to be done. By Thursday, the 29th, the contractor had mobilized equipment and cleanup started. So at that time, they had 2 bucket trucks addressing leaners and hangers. And so those are like the trees that are, leaning over the roadway or hanging down over the roadway. They trimmed all those. And 2 grapple trucks, which are basically like our claw trucks. But if you've seen them driving around town, they're massive, probably 5 times the size of our truck. Plus they have a trailer. So Wednesday, February 4th, so about a week later, they added an additional 6 grapple trucks, a small grapple truck, and 4 additional bucket trucks for cleaning limbs. And then by the end of this week, they anticipate having their grinder chipper on our limb disposal site to start breaking that material down and hauling it to its final disposal site.
Correct.
So the last little bit here is what we've done to date, and this is as of the end of the day yesterday. Approximately 170 leaning trees have been cut or removed. 1,500 hanging limbs have been cut, and 21,218.3 cubic yards of vegetation have been removed, which equates to 604 loads that have been hauled into our limb dump.
We're talking.
Limb disposal.
It's off of Forestry Street,
Forestry. And
five-
if,
501.
if residents don't want to wait for the truck, can they take
Yes,
their limbs there?
yes.
What Steve forgot to mention is that Billy Bella's donated sweet rolls that we delivered to the guys, and Santa's Ferry Pizza is donating a large pizza to all 36 Public Works employees.
Wow.
So
Wow, that's great. Well, it's well deserved. I will say this, as far as the city of Hendersonville goes, I can't thank you enough, not only as an alderman, and as a Hendersonville resident of the job that city staff and the mayor's office and Jesse, first of all, really did in this, because this was a horrible ice storm. It wasn't snow; it was the ice that was the worst. And another thing I want to say about it is I really appreciate. I can tell you right now that Mike, Alderman Martin, and I'll call him out tonight, that we were all in touch. I mean, every single day. I mean, literally from the morning until the evening time. That the majority of the aldermen that they would call me, and I appreciated that. And those are the times when you feel real helpless, because I'm sitting there as an alderman, but I'm also as a city resident. People are calling, and they had problems, but the city was right on it. I mean, when I needed to call, the front desk would say, "Okay, we're doing that. We're already doing that," and that makes me feel good, because I could honestly go back and say, "We're doing that," and we're doing this, and it's on schedule or it's on the list. The tree damage, Mayor, I appreciate that so much. That what you did, because you planned on it. It was just like you knew, you had that sense.
yeah, but in all honesty, what it took votes and budgeting by the board that allowed us to pay competitive wages to our guys and be fully staffed.
Yeah.
And the salt boxes and the equipment for plowing that y'all funded a couple years ago in the budget.
Yeah.
That's why we're able to do these things right here.
Well, it's good, because I was called this afternoon and said, and of course, naturally, it was in Ward 1. I'm going to say, well, you're very welcome, but the tree people were there loading up, and so they were saying, "Thank you so much, Mark, for getting that stuff out." And I said, "Well, it's actually the city, but if you want to give me credit, I'll be glad to do it," and we just laughed. But it was just really, everybody got on board, and it was remarkable what we did, and how effective we were as a city. Only the things that the city was responsible for that we could get to. If we could have got to the other stuff, which I got tons of calls on, we could have, but that's not our call, and a lot of people didn't realize that. But now they do, for sure. And hopefully, when the dust falls down or settles down, that we will be able to maybe to discuss options with the electric service, Nashville Electric, and then also Cumberland as well, just to see, maybe invite them here and I'm not here wanting to give them a beat down, because you're not going to get anything solved or resolved with that. They did the best that, that they could. Whether it fell far short or if it even fell short, they know it, and so they've got to, they've got to clean that up themselves. And if we can help them, in some areas, I'd be glad, more than happy for the city to do that. But maybe maybe later on in the spring, we can sit down when there's no imminent of cold weather coming, that we can sit down and just ask them, we kind of know already what happened with them, but for them to come forward and say, look, we're not here to beat up on you. We want to know what we can do to help. If there's anything, they may say, no, I think, they've got it all we've got it all under control. And if they do, they do. So I cannot express to you guys in Public Works how well that it was just a fine-tuned machine, man. Y'all got right to it, and with the salt, and even with the tree damage, getting out and replacing, because I live on the lake, and it's a dead end street. And there were trees that had fallen in the street on Neptune. And so I was sitting there looking out the window, drinking my coffee, and the next thing I hear this, and they went down there and got those down there to let those chainsaws, and they there was like 1, 2, 3, 4 residences on the almost to the dead end that probably would not have been able to they couldn't have gotten out there for a while, unless they wanted to go up into somebody's yard, and we're not like that. And they just probably would have waited or got out and tried to move it themselves. And but the Public Works people got out there, and I appreciate that. And I know through social media, I saw how you all did the whole city that way, and the fire department as well as Public Works. And that's a sign, a beautiful sign, that when their city is just right on it, because you work. I mean, I cannot express the appreciation that I have as an alderman, because it makes us all look good. But as a citizen, the effort that you guys put out, and I really appreciate what you did, because I know it had to be hard work and long hours, and in that cold weather, because it was rough. So thank you. And if you will tell all your people that I am very appreciative, or this committee is appreciative of what you did, as well as the city. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you. And, I mean, it's a testament to the care and dedication of the staff that works in Public Works. I mean, it really is. The road crews did a phenomenal job, and Trace cares about this city. You can tell.
Oh yeah. When I would talk to Trace, he'd say, "I'm on it." I mean, it wasn't not even like think twice. Well, we got to do this. He'd just say, "I'm on it." When it would talk, and I was like, "Well, good Lord, we don't even need to talk to Trace, because he knows what's going on." So, but Jesse, and that is with your staff here at the city hall too. The things that I really appreciate what you all did. It just made our life as aldermen so much easier. It was hard for I had a lot of the aldermen that were calling me, that this is their first experience with the cold weather. And so I said, well, if I were you, this is what, keep those comments private to them. But I said, this is how I would approach it, because I've been through it, but not like this one. We've been through tornadoes. I mean, we've had the best of all the worlds, I guess, or the worst of all of it. We've had tornadoes, we've had the ice, the snow, the rain, and the water, which I think that's coming next. So I'm sure you guys will be prepared for that. But thanks again for what you did. And just, what was it you told me when I talked to you there? Teamwork makes the dream work. And I like that because that's so true. And you get the team together and get it all worked out. And then the department heads do the same, whether it be the fire, the police, or public works, or just here, and you taking care of all of it. And I know that was some late nights for you too, I'm sure. So thanks again, and I know our city appreciates it as a citizen.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a lot of late nights for Casey and Trace. I think they bear a lot of the social media posts that we always have to go out.
Well, yeah, I saw the pictures you guys did. And I go, God, they're out there in that.
Public works crews were sold,
Yeah.
At night, late at night, early in the morning. And Stephen didn't put it on here, but he was in contact with our emergency debris contractor before the storm rolled in. He was calling them and telling them, "Hey, get ready to mobilize. We're going to be the first to call you," and we were. So there was work that went on before this even.
Yeah.
The storm hit the ground. So the guys did a really good job. Public works crews worked excellent. Casey kept putting the communication out for it. Fire department, police, we all joined together, and IT everyone was involved, so they did a really good job. And a lot of the public facing stuff, Casey's obviously she originates all that. Everyone gets to drive the streets, so public works has a big responsibility during this time. But even fire department came in and helped cut some trees, and so did the police department, and everyone was really busy, but everyone did a really good job.
Well, too, and I tell you, I have to confess to you, I really don't know much about Facebook, but Casey, I stole one of your posts and put it on my post too, But a lot of people now read that. I'm impressed with the stuff that you did, and just keep doing what you're doing, man.
Yeah, thank you. That's our goal, is just to help keep people informed, because I think that helps people feel comfortable and that they can calm down a little bit when they know that the city's working and what's going on. And so that's our goal for sure.
Yeah, it does. And when we had a lot of our community, with electrical problems with their homes, and they would call, and I would say, well, we're trying, but it's really NES. The city doesn't have any responsibility of that, and a lot of folks didn't know that. And I think that's something that you did with your posting to allow, say, hey, it's NES or it's CMAC or excuse me, Cumberland Electric, whatever, and gave those people the update on that, because it was when it was, so if people are coming, it's coming out of the city.
Yeah.
And so that helps a great deal, because that's another post I stole of yours.
It's
About 3 or
I think
5.
we got a lot of calls at City Hall at the front desk, and I think the thing that we overwhelmingly felt was just people just wanted to be heard.
Right.
They were very frustrated. They were cold. It was just a very difficult situation, and they couldn't get anybody NES to answer. So they found themselves calling City Hall a lot, and those phone calls landed on my desk a lot. And of course, Natasha and Debbie too. And it was just a matter of just listening and just telling them we're doing everything we can. We understand. And I think that was huge, just letting somebody listen, because it was tough. I think our community was frustrated, but really felt the love from the city, which is the most important thing.
That's very true. And then I know I'm speaking a lot, but it was just, and I'm just going to say 2 other things. The things that as an alderman, that I thought that were very impressive this time was the fact that when they called us, we had somebody that we could call, and they called us right back, or they answered it. And they said, okay, well, get a list. And then they, it was a couple of days, or some of it has been like a couple of days, but they got it back, and the people called me back and said, that they've come by and tell them thank you for being so quick about it, and I think that kind of being effective helps when it is budget time. People say, well, I had one guy call me and said, well, you got your tax money this time, Mark? And I said, oh yeah. I said, we sure did. So I don't like to look at it that way, but some people do, and that's okay. But we were very responsive, and that means a whole lot to a lot of people. And I know it does to me as an alderman. It's like I said, it makes our job a little easier, even though we all were hard. And but I really appreciate how the aldermen responded. That the ones that I spoke with, Mark Bergdorf and Martin and Rachel, and then Mark Evans. I mean, I about call everybody. We were in communication, but the Public Works Committee, we were in contact with each other. I mean, every day and night. I mean, we were just making sure everybody. It's not any clandestine thing. We were just making sure everything was covered that we knew, that each other knew, and so we, as a committee, I appreciate the efforts that that this committee did, and even sometimes when you're not at home, you still get calls and do your business from the city. And Eddie, I appreciate all the efforts that you did too, buddy, because I know you were lucky. So you've been away, but we appreciated you too. So, but I don't ever get calls from Eddie because I know he already knows his own system.
I know Tracy's phone.
There, that's it. So he took care of it. So I'm not sliding anywhere. I wish I'd have been with you down where you were, but you still took care of your ward, and I appreciate that too as an alderman. And so I'm going to go ahead and and there was one more thing I was going to say, and then I'm going to open the floor up to the alderman. This city, I have to say this because it's still, and I know I say it in every disaster. But this city, as a people, continually amaze me, and the gratitude that I have for my hometown, because there were times when they got out and got their stuff done, but the neighbors would even come out, not even being asked, but just came out and started helping people. Cut the trees. Because we have a lot of tree damage in Ward 1. And I know it as well as the whole city. But in Ward 1, it's like Eddie and I were talking about it. We have a lot of the older trees because it's an older part of Hendersonville, and they were damaged. I know a lot of our trees were damaged, and I'm gonna buy other trees to put back where they weren't or they're gone now, and that's a sad thing. And I hated that about 2 or 3 trees in there that I really loved at that house, but they're gone. It was just like a hand grenade going off when you'd hear them snap. And so I'd call the Bergdorfs because he's just right up, and I'd say, "Did you hear that?" And he goes, "No," but I said, and I went outside. It was a tree because it was loud, and but it was so quiet because of the ice. But what I was going to say is that this town, I truly love the city because everybody gets out and they don't even like ask about it. They just get out and do it, and it doesn't matter if there's a tornado or if it's ice. And that's truly speaks a lot about this city. It really does. And I'm just so grateful that I live here. And it makes me, I just sat down at my desk at the house and I was going like, I don't want to live anywhere else, and believe you me, I've got that opportunity to do that now with what's all happened with the deaths in my family. And I like Hendersonville. The people are nice, and it's like, and then I'll close with this. I was talking to somebody about it, and he said, "Yeah." I said, "You go to New York, you can't even look at anybody. You just walk down I was warned, I said, because the Skidmore, don't look at him, just walk straight ahead going what you're doing, and here, people open the door for you when you go to Walmart, or they say, "Hey, how you doing?" And in the old saying, when you're driving down, let's say, I don't know, Susan Drive or somewhere like that, somebody will go, you'll see in a truck or something, they'll do their hands or they'll just wave at you, and I don't know who they are, but people do that, and there are certain cities within our own country that you can't do that, and that's what makes this town so special. So I just thank everybody, and everything that we did, as a rule in the city, we did it right, and so I thank you guys. So I'm gonna go ahead. Does anybody have any questions on dealing with the damage, or any questions about it, or if anybody else has any comments on it, we sure will be welcome to it, to hear them. Any negative things or positive?
All right, any negative, I just want to echo your thought that you guys did a phenomenal job. The cleanup, I think it's going to take a long time, so I think letting people know that so they can kind of expect that.
Okay, so Stephen or staff, what kind of communications did we have with the electric companies? Do we have some kind of staff liaison that we can talk to each other, or is it mainly through the mayor and the mayor of Nashville? Is that the main line of communication that we had with the power companies?
We have a person at NES that the mayor is the primary point of contact.
Yes.
Mayor Clary.
Yes.
With NES, it's the person that they assign at NES to have contact with the city. So that was our primary. There was a couple of calls we were able to hop on. At the end of the storm event, we were able to get some more specific details. But at the beginning of the storm event, we didn't have a lot of specific details to say. We're dealing with obviously, a catastrophe with over 230,000 outages at the beginning. So as the storm kind of progressed on, the communication got better. But at the beginning, I think they were just completely hands-on trying to fix the power lines, and communication to us, I don't think, was at the top of their list. The priority was getting power back.
So I understand that the mayor of Nashville has announced that there's going to be an independent audit of the response. I don't know if there's going to be a task force that kind of helps with the evaluation of the audit and listens and then makes any recommendations to the board, NES board. But if there is that movement, I hope that we will strongly urge that we have a seat at the table, someone in Sumner County, probably from Hendersonville, because NES, does it serve customers outside of Hendersonville in Sumner County? Or is it mainly?
And Goodlettsville as well.
Yeah. So as and I wish the mayor was here and I could know him, as they move forward with that process of evaluation, I hope that we can say, hey, we don't have a seat on the board, our county doesn't, but we would like a seat at the table on the evaluation of the audit, kind of the task force. And to me, that would be an easy ask, to try to get someone, either from the city, someone, from our technical staff. Mayor, that's just what we were talking about. As I was saying, that I've heard that the mayor of Nashville has announced that there's going to be an independent audit of NES and their response. I don't know if that's moving forward, but if it does, I'm hoping that we can have some kind of representation on the task force that would be looking at the audit and kind of filling in the auditor of things they need to look for, and kind of have some input from our community.
Yeah, I agree. I've emailed our 4 people in state delegation and also included Mayor O'Connell on that. Let him know that in 2004, this board passed a resolution to ask for representation on the NES board, and that if there's any appetite or any discussion about that, we would like to be included in that. I also sent our state delegation a map of the NES service area and all the cities that are included, not just the map that shows you the service area, but outline the cities. Actually, JP put that together for me, and it shows Hendersonville is a pretty good chunk. Now, the suburbs probably might be 10 to 12% of the total number of customers. And I think that regardless of what the percentage is, how high or how low it is, when you're talking about a government entity which basically has a monopoly. That's what you're talking about. You're
Yeah.
talking about a government entity
Right.
that all the customers should have some representation on there.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'll follow up. I haven't done anything on that in a couple of days. I'll follow up on it.
Yeah. Thank you for all the stuff you've done, Mayor. I've just I've watched from afar, but watched, and you did a great job in keeping the community aware. I also understand from NES in reading that they're looking at possibly investing in underlying transmission lines to help prevent this. So hopefully we can get at the front of the line if there are movements toward burying transmission cables, that we can, say, hey, we need at least Main Street buried.
So Jesse and Keith and I, Jesse and Keith really started this ball rolling and talking with folks at NES about that and reminding them that 3 times in the past 5 years, and now 4 in the past 6 years, we've had trouble with reliability of electricity. And I've also talked to every NES board member, not specific about this, but specific about reliability in Hendersonville, and showing them appreciation for the amount of attention that they do give us. Maybe I'm greasing the wheels a little bit, but I want them to understand that we're paying attention. We actually had a meeting with 2 of the vice presidents at NES the Friday before the storm hit. And we had also been trying to put together a meeting with folks from the boring company. They had to cancel on us because of the storm, but we've got something set next Thursday, I think it is, with them.
Okay.
So these conversations about burying power lines, I think that if anybody looks at which city is most ready to be a partner, it's us. Good.
Stephen, before Sarah left, the staff developed a resiliency program. Is that what it resiliency? That might be a good time to kind of look at that again, and probably y'all already have. The generators that we were able to gin up, the traffic signals were a part of that investment that the board made. I'd like at some future date, Mr. Chairman, I would like to have an update on the resiliency plan. Where do we stand? What else do we need to fund? Is there an effort to look at maybe some additional steps to take to make the grid a little more resilient? I don't know what those are, but I think it's a good time now post catastrophe that we've had to look at those plans. And do we need to did we have any fire or police stations that lost power? And I'm sure all of them have generators, don't they?
Yeah, generators turned on. So we didn't. They may have lost power. We might not have known it because the generator kicked right off.
Okay.
But I think we had some generators.
And we didn't run low on diesel or gas or anything.
Yeah, before the storm, we
Perfect.
We were good to go.
It doesn't surprise me at all. On the project totals at the bottom of your page, I think it would be good to add to give a picture of just the amount of overtime maybe that we have put into it, and the amount of investment that we have made into third-party contractors. Do you have a rough total, Jesse, of what that might be, of what this storm has cost the city?
We're estimating it could be $3 million for outside contractors.
And how are we going to pay for that?
Well, our rainy day fund is going to cover it.
Okay. Good.
And then it's, we're doing all the work as though FEMA is going to reimburse it.
Mhm.
But, that reimbursement can take years.
Mhm.
And they can, there can be some things that they don't deem reimbursable. But we're following all the processes to get it reimbursed, but it'd still be years even if it is reimbursed.
I know Country Hills has had to close the course down because of the tree damage on the course. And Lynn Ray talked to me, the management company, of how much they appreciate the city and the contractors going out and helping to clear up the city property there. So I just think it would be good to give some kind of quantitative numbers down here in man hours of what we have devoted to the storm. I don't know how hard that will be, but I think that shows the commitment of the city of what we all did, to address this storm.
Casey's also making a video. Casey and Natasha are making a video with Steven that'll probably post sometime next week that kind of shows that cradle to grave process with our vendors. That'll go out on Facebook or Instagram or whatever you put it out. So we may be able to add some of this information in that post as well.
I would also like to thank Alderman Martin for the generator. I think you're going to have an amendment tonight for home generators.
Yes, sir.
I was talking to someone in Ward 5, Greg Haig, today, and they're getting ready to purchase a home generator. And I said, well, wait just a few weeks till we get this ordinance. So I think that the board is acting judiciously and compassionately on trying to look at what can we do as well. This. You're exactly right. When the power goes out, we can't send our crews out, working on 1,000-volt lines. We have to defer to the utility company. And so I'm interested to see how the discussions with NES goes, in the future, Mayor. Please keep us informed. And if there's any need of resolution or ordinances, I'm sure that this committee would support that to strengthen your hand with NES if you need that. And again, like Mark said, ditto on thanking the staff for everything. Thank you. That's all.
Yeah, in response, I was just as mad there for a while, at NES like everybody else was, because I started really thinking about it, and I think they were just, to give them some benefit of the doubt, they were so overwhelmed by this storm, but we knew it was coming. That's the key to respond to that. Guys, you knew it was coming, so my God, the city of Hendersonville was prepared for it, and look what you guys did. Now that fails in comparison to, those 10,000-volt lines or ever how many thousands of volts that it takes to run, but still that's their job to. Hopefully they'll work out a plan, and of course if they do, Mayor, as Eddie and Mike and Mark and let's see, well, all of us actually have said, yeah, we want to be a part of that plan, because I don't know what the percentage is, but I can assure you that NES deals with the majority of the city of Hendersonville as opposed to Cumberland.
A lot of Ward 6
Yes.
is in Cumberland. Yeah. And a lot of the newer subdivisions, of course, have underline cable. And so they were there for a lot of the other parts of the city, the peninsula.
And that's true. And I think that's one thing that when you do meet, Mayor, with those guys, that we're very interested in getting our, because it's like you said, we've always been interested in that from many years ago. And I do want to say one other thing that I noticed on social media. I don't know who it was, Mayor, and it's not, it's none of my business, but I remember when you brought that ordinance back when you were an alderman, and I think it was a unanimous vote, the whole board. I know I did, and I know Ms. Skidmore did, because we were very in favor of that. And I think
That was the only thing that you and I agreed on.
well, I don't know. I have to go back and see, but it might be. It might have been. But no, very.
Water under the bridge.
So yeah, that's water under the bridge. It generally is. But I know it was I felt that it was a unanimous vote because we were all believed in that. So I appreciate you bringing that all those years ago. I appreciate you bringing that up, and it was well deserved to do that. So, Mike, do you have anything, or Jesse, or anything? You guys?
Can I add one thing?
Oh, yes, sir.
I almost am apologetic about how much my face was on Facebook the past couple weeks. Casey and I thought that was the best way to go.
Yes, it was.
And let people understand what's going on. But really all I was doing is I was reporting what other people were doing. It was Steven, it was our fire, it was our police. It was his staff. It was Jesse making sure everybody was communicating and doing what was the highest priority on us. And it was Casey and Natasha and Debbie answering a lot of phone calls. There were a lot of difficult responsibilities in the past couple weeks, but I think Casey and Debbie and Natasha answering phone calls from people who were very upset about their electricity and being compassionate and trying to give them any morsel of hope. That was one of the hardest.
Yeah.
Well, I was a Boy Scout, and we used to earn merit badges as a Boy Scout. And this storm to me has proven that Casey and Stephen not only have won a merit badge, but they are an Eagle Scout.
Girl Scout sash.
Well, I'll tell you, I know you had to step out, but earlier in the meeting, I expressed how much that I appreciated you guys holding down the fort, really, anticipating everything you anticipated came true, and we handled it, and it makes our life as aldermen a lot easier, and I appreciate that, so just do it again with the tornadoes.
You and Stephen, the other aldermen have anything, Mark?
Oh yeah.
To say?
Do you all have anything
You'd like
within your district?
I just want to say that we've had tornadoes and power outages from storms and ice and snow. We've had it all since I've been on this board. This is the first time that I had people calling me with positive comments. The first time. And the biggest one was the fact that we got salt on the largest percentage of our roads
Right.
I've ever, that was just amazing to them. And I really appreciate that. And Jesse, I know you were instrumental in developing a plan for this board to vote on more equipment and for these types of events. And I want to thank all three of you for everything that you've done.
Here.
Thank you so much.
Well, and I'll echo the thoughts of everybody. I think the city did a wonderful job. And there's a lot of specifics. One is I thought it was good that the mayor kept the community informed, and Casey helping him get that information out there. Just knowing, even if it's not what you want to hear, but knowing makes you more comfortable.
Absolutely.
And I think it was a great job overall by the city with Jesse, all the department heads, and everyone.
I saw social media comments, and I know the video is rolling, but I'm going to say it anyway. But I saw social media comments comparing the city support to Hendersonville versus Gallatin's support to Gallatin. And people were saying, I'm moving to Hendersonville. But they were like, our city's a ghost right now. Nobody's giving any communication. So, it made me feel really good about what we've done. It really does.
Yeah, I saw, I don't know if it was the same, but I think, it makes us feel good as aldermen, that, we're doing something up here. We're doing something that's real, that affects people's lives. And I know I get up here sometimes and pontificate on how great Hendersonville, and I refuse to call the northern part of the city their name, but that, you just kind of go like this. Told you,
I do
And-
want. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I do want to have a conversation at some point. It might be after we adjourn about canceling board meetings in these situations.
Yes.
Okay.
Like I said, it might be after we adjourn.
We need an easier way to do that. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, that I agree. We'll just wait till after the thing's over. But I guess that's about it. If we don't have anything tonight,
Mark?
yes, sir. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. And yes, Jesse, Stephen, Casey, Mayor Clary, thank you for being attentive to our constituents and their needs. One of the hardest calls I did receive was a neighbor of mine who did not have power, but she would not go anywhere to seek shelter. And I had follow up with her. She was just miserable. That makes us, I mean, I'm proud that we're able to work and serve as many people as we possibly could. There are those one or two that we just cannot do anything for because we do not have the ability to go flip a switch with NES. And thank you, Mayor, for pursuing that. Thank you, Alderman Robertson, for asking those questions. So, but there's only one other thing. If I can switch gears just a little bit, please. Thank you. This I was working on before the storm, but this is something I'd like to have us use on Ward 1. It's traffic calming measures. I know I've been an echo on this thing. Just want to keep talking about it and have these things put on as a option for Public Works. Jesse, would you like a copy? And I have one more. There you go. There you go. Okay. This is what we had on Gaytone, Volco, and some of our other longer streets. We have my constituents continue to report speeders, dangerous driving, reckless driving, and there is a program out there with the Federal Highway Federal Highway Administration that does have recommended ways to control traffic flow. We did a study on it about a year ago, and it was, I think Public Works did a study on it about a year ago, found it wasn't necessary. I really would like to explore these other options. I'll leave it with you guys. I know we're wrapping up in time, and but just wanted to thank you all very much for the opportunity to bring this forward to you guys and consider these traffic calming measures on our streets in Ward 1 and whatever else is needed. They're already in place on Drakes Creek Road, the elevated stripes, little raised stripes, and that makes a difference.
Durham Farms.
Yes, sir, absolutely. Durham Farms. And off side street parking is considered a traffic control measure too. I did not realize that, but it's just interesting, like they do in Durham Farms. But there's a way we could consider this, put something together. I know I and our neighbors would sure appreciate that. It's about neighbors helping neighbors, right? That's what we do.
Right.
Thank you. You have any questions?
No,
Okay.
I appreciate it. And what's running through my mind is that each one of our wards are so unique.
Mm-hmm.
There's not one ward exactly like the other. They're
Absolutely.
close,
Mhm.
but you are dealing with issues that Ward 4 does not even have.
Right, right,
We don't even have a business, a commercial business,
right,
a brick and mortar in Ward 4.
right.
So it's just so different. But I
It is.
appreciate your concern.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'd love to talk to you about it more. Anyway, that's all I have, Chairman. Thank you.
And Alderman Dixon, that is so true in what you said, because that's what makes, I think, Hendersonville unique, because it's such a diverse community, and that makes it special. One of the many things that they have. So I agree with you 100%. And and as a representative of Ward 1, I agree with you, because I've dealt with these things for a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've always had to come back a lot of times, and I hated to say no.
Mm-hmm.
But the good news is, things change. And
that's exactly what we had. Our neighborhoods were built, over there in Ward 4, our neighborhoods were built 50s, 60s, 70s. And lots of advancements and signage and everything else have improved over the years. Karen, I'm going to move that chair so we can have an eye-to-eye conversation. There it is.
there we go. That's it.
But it has these things. We need to modernize our traffic system to take a fresh look at some of the options that we have. Thank you all.
And maybe, Chairman, a good way to move this forward is to ask the staff in their budget considerations for next year to look at implementing some traffic calming measures based upon studies that need them, and at least look at that at the budget time, because I know it's not cheap, but that might push it forward, and so then when we discuss the budget in capital works, public works, we can the staff can give us a report on the possibility. One of the things that our neighborhood did and our HOA paid for it is we put in 3 solar speed limit signs.
I love those.
So when you
Yeah.
go by, it says speed limit 25, and if it shows 35, and some of the neighbors have said that it has slowed people down because they don't realize they're going that fast.
Yes, yes.
And solar, I think the price of those have come way down.
One of the neighborhoods on the way to the park, Saunders Ferry Park, has installed that as soon as you enter the neighborhood.
Yeah.
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 So that's another. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we'll put it down and we'll make sure that we talk about this. I guess we can, I tell you what we'll do. We'll just put it on the agenda for our next public works meeting.
Sure.
And talk about it. And we don't have to make a decision on that night, but talk about where we want to go to, because I think Eddie's, Alderman Robertson's idea is to put it on to talk about during budget time is probably the quickest way to go about it. And but thank you for bringing that to us tonight. Is there anything else?
No, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else have anything? That's it.